the next item we have is filling the city council members. We've interviewed 9 candidates today, and we have an unbelievable great number of candidates here in the city. And it's definitely hard to choose from, for sure. So I don't know if everybody's got some input on what all that is. Candidates?
Yes, I guess I'll start out.
We interviewed 9, and there was one that was not here. And I know some people were curious to hear about her, and so I didn't know if someone would give a little more information about Maria Beecher was not here. Nobody else did interview either on the phone or in person.
Okay, so first of all, thank you to all the candidates that came forward. I wasn't really sure how many we were going to get, and we got a lot of wonderful candidates. I am going to make a recommendation to select Maria Beach, who was not here in the meeting, but I did have the opportunity to interview her. She applied. And a little bit about her, she is the CEO and CFO of a local franchise here. She employs over 400 employees. She's a local member of multiple groups in the community. She's a Orono graduate. She also has a husband that is a firefighter, and she brings a great background in both being local and being here, and she also in her leadership in her company, and so that's a little bit about her. And despite the many great candidates that we had here, that's going to be my recommendation.
That's a motion?
I like that discussion.
That's a motion?
I have made a motion, yes, to select Maria Beach.
I also interviewed her on the phone and out of the candidates, and I appreciated everybody who did apply today. We had some really good candidates in there, and it wasn't an easy decision. But Maria stepped up, and she really appealed because of her business.
I disagree with your process. I don't agree that a week is enough time or 2 weeks is enough time.
You're out of order. Okay, you're out.
And I don't believe.
You're out of order. Can you sit down, please? You're out of order.
Yes. I don't believe this.
Okay, I appreciate your opinion now. You interviewed nicely, and now you're kind of being rude, so if you could sit down. it'd be great.
Yes,
My
yes.
process is not, I agree with you.
Whoa.
You guys say this is I never interviewed. That's not true.
Can I finish talking?
They couldn't make it to today's, it wasn't important enough today to come to today's meeting, but they're the best selection.
We were talking about the forum earlier. And actually, Brian,
She was.
Governance.
you would have been my second candidate.
Oh.
You would have been, no, seriously. I truly, no, I really considered you, and I ranked everybody as we went through the process. But this lady is out of town on vacation, and we all had the opportunity to interview her on the phone. So it was a fair process. Yes, she was not here.
It's
She had
another
this
conflict of
vacation
interest
planned.
with her husband on the fire department.
She had this
Why is
vacation
Victoria
planned.
Shields resigning?
So,
I think that.
But Brian,
Just another conflict, the reason that the number of people are here today and at the number of council meetings so far is because this is how the process is ran. It really doesn't seem transparent. She should have been here.
called somebody who had a long-term vacation planned with her family, was out of town, and wanted to serve the
Extend
community.
your interview process.
The council got to interview her. Each individual member got to chat with her and interview her on the telephone. That was fine. Just because it wasn't in front of another group of people, I'm sorry. It just, there wasn't the opportunity. But I'm going to second that.
I'd like more discussion.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second.
Yes, I'd like to have discussion. As we all just said, just a moment ago, we have 10 or 11, now 10 individuals, one of whom couldn't be be here tonight who have come prepared to speak and answer questions, and there has been zero deliberation.
If you have a candidate that you like, please, if you have the number one candidate out of the people who are here tonight, please discuss it.
I would like to discuss
Go ahead.
merits of several individuals.
Well,
I could-
you have to come down to the.
I understand, but
So
may
somebody
I-
can second it.
I would ask that I not be interrupted while I'm speaking. I would appreciate that. And I would also say that I'm not seeking applause. I want to do. You know what?
Show some respect.
I have a big.
You know, that starts with you first.
It starts with you.
Motion and discussion.
No, I want to let Councilmember Benson finish. I would like to let Councilmember Benson finish her point and discuss in her rankings who her top candidate was, so please go ahead.
I want to start by just saying that I believe, and the reason I asked about humility in particular as one of my questions is I believe it's very important not only to understand how we make decisions, but to understand our own limitations as we make those decisions. And this is a position that an individual will fill for Councilmember, after Councilmember Seals has resigned for the next year and a half in the midst of very big decisions, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know. So it's confounding to me that we as a council are not willing to take time to hear each other's thoughts.
And we're listening to you. You said you want to discuss the candidates. We're listening to you.
And to also have the respect and the understanding that we all are saying and asking valid and valuable questions, just as I listen when you do, and I do listen. So what I would like to do, given that this meeting doesn't appear to be running long, is to deliberate and discuss each of the candidates.
Who would you like to discuss?
Well, we can start from the top.
Well, I would start at your top candidates. Because if you're not considering some of them.
I'm considering everybody, that's why I'm here. I don't mean that to be in any way disrespectful, but this is an incredible amount of information. And it's also something that at least I require time to digest and to be thoughtful about. And to hear reflections back about the things that I'm saying from fellow council. So
Well, maybe we can start out by.
I'm happy to start with,
Did you already talk with, we proposed, put out a motion on a candidate, with second, right? So maybe if you are you opposed to that candidate? You had mentioned that you did talk to her, and if you have opposition to that particular candidate, this would be a good opportunity for you to let us know what your objections are.
sure, and I'm happy to answer that. And I also, opposition is not a word I would use. I think when we're deliberating candidates, I look at it in terms of assets and what people bring to the table as well as potential concerns. And in the case of Maria Beach, it is unfortunate that she wasn't able to be here tonight through no fault of her own. Vacations get planned a long time ago, and I acknowledge that. And I did have a chance to speak with her on the phone. It is something that I would say is a potential concern that she is married to an active firefighter because of the process that's happening right now with fire. So I think, again, and that is something that certainly Attorney Maddock addressed in terms of the potential for conflict not being one in the case of Councilmember Seals because she was not financially benefiting from decisions being made. Now, that said, it didn't stop some conflict points around that. So what I would say is if it is possible to entertain candidates and to work thoroughly through these other candidates that don't potentially come in with that, those optics from the outset, I think I'd like to do that. So it's not that everybody here has lots of good points, for sure,
You know,
including Maria Beach.
as a former volunteer and somebody who served 10 years, I think it would be unfortunate to penalize somebody because of husband served.
Yeah, and I wouldn't argue that.
You know, like somebody who's serving their community that way. Like, I don't see a penalty in that. I think that somebody who's active in the community serves.
Absolutely. As is everybody else. So I guess what I'm saying, and this is helpful to hear, because we haven't had, as a council, a chance to discuss the merits of any of these candidates. This is it. So,
Well, we have a motion in a second, so the conversation is on the motion.
why are you not gonna have people? Just to clarify, we are not gonna have discussion on any of the other candidates that have applied
Well, we
here.
have a motion in a second, so the discussion is on the motion. Whether you approve it, don't like it, have issues about it, but we have a motion on the table.
So we're only going to discuss one candidate as a group. I just want to
I got a
clarify
motion,
the
got a
motion.
motion.
Yes,
Could
sir.
you repeat the motion, Mr. Councilman Johnson? Appreciate it.
To,
Would you just repeat the motion?
elect Maria Beach, point.
And I say,
Okay. And you don't, there is, if we're not going to discuss the candidates, then.
Well, okay, but here's the thing is, we received their applications. Several of those people have reached out to me, had other conversations beyond their application. We had interviews there. There was a lot of good candidates. This was my first choice based on hearing, open, I listened, I engaged, I talked to the people. This is my candidate to go through the other ones. At this point, I don't think it's necessary at this point.
Oh,
I mean,
Oh, geez.
it's my job to get my first pick. So you put a motion, she's my first pick. I think it's unfortunate she was on a family trip, but I'm not gonna penalize her for that. And the conflict of interest issue is related to if we're talking about voting on wages with the fire department. So, there might be some people that have an objection to having somebody who serves on the city council and serves the community, by being on the fire. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, what I would say to that is that this is the exact issue, and through no fault of Councilmember Seals or former council members, through no fault of their own, but this is the very issue that has come into play with part of the things we talked about over time with optics, with the way our city communicates about things, and this one candidate that I understand that it's your decision, but with no open discussion, it's I guess confusing to me how there could already be a motion after.
Well,
this
because-
moment. I'm sorry. Again, oh,
But just understand.
I understand.
No, we didn't need to conduct interviews either as a function, so we do the extra step of doing this process, the city council can simply appoint somebody. But we
We
took,
went through the process.
we did additional steps by asking for applicants, we interviewed applicants, and now we're voting on who we think is the best fit for that open position. That doesn't disparage somebody else that applied. I mean, these are great people, there's a lot of volunteering opportunity within the city for those applicants that want to be more involved. But we've done more than we needed to do, and now you're criticizing the fact that, oh, you needed to do more and more.
Well,
Well,
this
we
is,
did do
yeah,
more.
it's not a criticism. What I'd say is, I guess I have a question. Do you consider that there are any issues with this candidate of concern?
I understand you. But here's the one thing, and I'm not trying to interrupt. If you do have a candidate that you really like, I'm willing to, let's, if there's somebody up there that you saw as a group of candidates that was your top choice, let's discuss that person.
Or make a motion.
Yeah.
She can't.
Put your foot out-
How
put
it's
your
3
foot down and
against
say,
1,
here's who I
you're all
support.
corrupt.
She can't make a
I
motion,
don't
there's a
feel
motion
that
out
this
there.
process, I think the fair thing to do and why people interview is to understand that without just saying after no deliberation, I can have a top choice. My goal here is not to rush a process by just making a motion to throw out a name. It's to talk about the merits and some of the concerns or pros and cons.
Yeah, exactly.
We're discussing the merits of that person, because we have a motion, it needs discussion because that's what's on the table.
Sure, and when the motion is only to discuss one candidate,
Well, that's because that's the nature of the motion.
well,
I mean, when Randy got appointed 4 years ago, we interviewed him, we appointed the same night. When Dave Ron got put on twice, 8 and 10 and 12 years ago, we interviewed him and then put him on right on the spot.
Yeah, when I interviewed, the process was exactly the same.
I understand.
Years ago, I interviewed for the position, and the candidates got to interview, the city council came and made their decision, and that was it.
For where we sit today with the issues that we just discussed for an hour and a half with the candidates of the city, I don't believe this is an ideal
Okay, well, I'll
process.
get back to, we have a motion. We have a
Yes, I
second.
understand, and if you want to deliberate the other candidates, I don't know if
Well,
there's a
No,
way to
is
withdraw
there
your
a
motion.
candidate that you wanted to talk
I
about
want to
specifically?
discuss a number of people and their merits, yes.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, but the problem is we have a motion on the table.
It's not a
And-
problem.
And you, I don't know how this would work with Robert's rules, is it possible to withdraw the motion if you want to have another discussion?
If he wants to withdraw his
Okay.
motion, otherwise it's, we have a vote.
Yeah,
Okay.
withdraw,
Would you
withdraw.
like to withdraw?
No, I don't want to withdraw. I made my selection, I made a motion. I like to vote it on.
I will stand on my side.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You're all
Opposed?
corrupt.
Boo.